Welcome to the Freelance Tribe. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Zsike Peter, a boutique content marketing agency owner, Vampire Digital, who helps VIP clients to be heard, seen, and known in their categories. And today we'll discuss what LinkedIn ghostwriting is, how it works, who needs it, why they need it, and how you stand out as a ghostwriting expert. So welcome, Zsike.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
I was following you for a long time and a few more folks from ghostwriting industry, and I was always curious, oh my God, how do you have all this time? How do you make all those posts? So for those who don't know, what is ghostwriting on LinkedIn?
So it's basically copywriting, but ghostwriting became fashionable. Copywriting is a skill that anyone can learn, really. But its purpose is to write to grab attention and to convert that attention over time. When you do ghostwriting, means you're writing on behalf of someone else, and that piece of content will then be posted as if they've written it. So the audience reading that content is unaware that the person posting it didn't write the post, which is absolutely fine. You know, there are so many instances I can think of where there are books being ghostwritten. You know, a lot of autobiographies are written by ghostwriters and not the person who the autobiography is about. There will be politicians doing their speeches or, you know, government word leaders and so on. 9 times out of 10, they haven't written that piece, right? So that's ghostwriting too. There's nothing wrong with it. You can still be an authentic business owner, person, or a brand if you have a ghostwriter, as long as that's done collaboratively and your writer interviews you extensively, so they know what's happening in your world, in your mind, then that piece can still be presented as an authentic piece that's come from you.
So you've told that you have to walk in their shoes. You have to
That's right. Yeah.
kind of become them, at least mentally when you're writing those posts. So are there people who you can't work with?
Definitely. So you can't do it, or you can't do it for everyone. And 9 times out of 10, I find that it's people where they want to play it safe, and they think they want to write how they speak, but realistically, we don't. Most of us don't write how we speak, really. Um, Even a ghostwriter, you know, you'll be really, or a copywriter, you'll be having a different kind of thought process when you're writing your thoughts down on paper and presenting them. Um, and there's this saying, like, you have to kill your darlings, means you have to strike out some words and sentences. And as a writer, that's really difficult to do because, you know, you created that baby, you don't want to kill that baby. And that becomes, when you're writing for a client, that's even more difficult to do, because the client will be like, that doesn't sound like me. Okay, but what do you sound like? So the way we capture that is we ask our clients to record voice notes regularly. We have WhatsApp group chats for each client, where myself or the assigned copywriter, because we work with a few freelance copywriters who are experts in their specific fields, and that copywriter has access to lots of voice recordings of the client they produce content for. And we ask them to leave, you know, random shower thoughts, anything that happened. It doesn't have to be business related. In fact, a lot of the times those random thoughts make really interesting, relatable content pieces. So the kind of people we struggle to work with is where they're struggling to verbalize, you know, what they really think, or they want to they want to play it safe because they want to be seen professional on LinkedIn, not realizing that you can actually push the boundaries a lot further. And to be relatable, you need to be vulnerable and authentic. And I know that's like the buzzword at the moment, authenticity. And so a lot of people feel like, oh, you know, it's a bit like personal branding was the buzzword a year ago or 2 years ago on LinkedIn. Now it's all about authenticity. But it is true, you know, you need to show your actual real human side, and that means being authentic, and that means sharing the downs and not just the ups. And if you're unprepared to do that, if you're not prepared to do that, then it becomes really difficult for me to write for that client. So that's the kind of client now I learned with is, we call them maybe uncoachable, right? If they're adamant that they want to do things their own way, then there's no point us working with them. Why do you go to an expert? It's like you go to the dentist and you're trying to tell him how to do a root canal filling. That's why you go to the dentist, right? They know what they're
Exactly.
doing. So,
Exactly. And for me, it sounds like a public therapy. So you're asking questions, you're preparing those thoughts, and usually people are working on them, but they're like sharing them. So, and you talked about it feels like having your own baby. And
yeah.
even though it's a ghost, it's still writing. So how does it feel not to get credit for the finished piece of exceptionally great content?
I mean, on one hand, I've had moments where, a piece that I've written for a client has done exceptionally well. It's even better than my content at the time, and I feel like, oh, I could have used that for my own LinkedIn. But also, it gives me an amazing sense of pride if I see a piece of content doing really well, and we have some of our clients, we manage their whole LinkedIn accounts, and we see like their DMs, and we see their audience sending messages saying, oh, that post was amazing, or I love that intro you've written with the connection request, because we also do that for them. It's the best connection request I've ever received. And I think, oh my God, that's because of us. We did that for that client. So it's actually, I feel like a proud parent. That's the way I would describe that then when our client's content is doing well. And that's the best. That's better than having the obviously the income is important because we have to pay our freelancers, but a client's success is my success. So that's the best feeling ever, really.
What skills must a ghostwriter have?
Listening skills are really important, and that I mean obviously being able to listen to what the client is really trying to tell us, because a lot of the times they are unsure. So feedback, for example, is so important. If the client doesn't like the content, what are they trying to tell us? And sometimes it feels like pulling teeth, they will be like, oh, I don't really feel it, or can you just add some spark? Well, okay, what do you mean by that? So listening skills are important, but also social listening. So social listening, looking at what's working on the channels that you're writing for, right? Because what your client wants is not what their audience wants to read
Mm.
about. And it is so important to be able to convince your client that actually what you think is going to work is not going to work, because that's not what the audience wants to hear or read about. So social listening skills is learning what audiences want, and it can be very different from one industry to another. When you're writing for a cybersecurity client, as compared to a whiskey storage specialist, which I just given examples of the type of client we write for, or a business consultancy working with high net worth individuals. It's going to be very different
Mm.
what the audiences of those clients want to read or will find useful, or will work in terms of generating leads for your clients, because ultimately that content has to generate enough attention so that their audience will want to reach out to our clients and book a call with them. That's the end goal, depending on what stage of their brand building they're at, because some clients don't have an audience yet. If you don't have an audience, no matter how good your content is, then you're not going to sell anything to a non-existing audience, right?
What differs great ghostwriter from good ghostwriter?
Wow. Um, Recognizing that you are not invincible and you make mistakes, and not I think some writers think they know it all,
Mm.
and the moment you stop learning because you think you know it all is the moment you stop growing. And I think that's applicable to anyone, really. Okay, I'm saying that as a writer is specifically true. You have to constantly hone your skills and practice to strive to be better. Um, So definitely that I think is when you think that's the difference between a good and a great ghostwriter. If you think I'm a great ghostwriter, then you're not. If people are telling you, if people are telling you when you're not in the room, if people are telling other people that this person is a great ghostwriter, that's when you're a great ghostwriter.
You reminded me of an chocolate ad that I saw some time ago, and I was pretty much inspired from that time. And it was like, if you forget God damn it, if you forgive our imperfection, we'll forgive yours. And I'm like,
I love that.
yeah,
That's brilliant.
looks like that. Yeah. And I didn't understand it back then. But
Mm.
then I was like, makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. What do you know? Do you remember the brand?
It was Lion chocolate, and
Ah,
my kids still love them. So
yes. Love that.
it's still
Brilliant.
close to me. How do your potential clients know that they need a ghostwriter?
So a lot of the times they're not problem aware. They don't realize they have a problem, so they might, which is why marketing comes in here, as a and this applies to any business owner, right? Is your potential clients don't know about you unless you consistently market yourself, and part of that marketing is networking online, being front of mind, and becoming known for what you're good at, right? So if you constantly add value with your content online and your network, and you send the right DMs and you connect with the right people, then they're going to become aware of you. And then if you talk about their problems, then suddenly they think, oh, yeah, I don't have the time to write these posts. Or I might have the time, but I don't have the know-how. I don't have the creative skills. I don't know anything about conversion copywriting. I don't know anything about buyer psychology. Even if you are a good writer, if all those elements can actually help you get better at promoting your services. But then when you're running a business, you don't have the time to learn all those skills.
Yeah.
So the way our potential clients become aware is, one, we go out and find those potential clients by adding them through Sales Navigator, not just hoping that they find our posts. So you have to be a bit more proactive. And once you added them, you actually start to build relationships with them. One is through your content, but two is genuinely showing interest in what they have to say. So if they are posting, interacting with their content. If they're not posting, see where they are leaving comments. They will be leaving comments on other people's posts. Then you could respond to their comments, and
Yeah.
then actually starting a DM conversation, but with listening skills, with leading value, not the cold pitch slap, because that's a huge turn off. That's like asking someone to marry you the first time you go on a
Exactly.
date. It's not going to work.
Usually 99.99% of the time.
Exactly, yeah.
And the
I
fun
mean,
thing,
you'll have to ask a lot of people for somebody to say yes.
yeah.
Not a great strategy.
So I have a few friends of mine who are sales experts, and they're sharing
Mm,
content on how to do this cold outreach, etc. And all the time somebody pitches me something on LinkedIn. I'm like, by the way, I'd advise you to follow this person so
mm.
you can learn from them.
Yeah,
And
and I bet,
hopefully.
yeah. I bet
So
even those cold outreach specialists, they will be like, okay, there is going to be a sequence of messages. It's not, the first message isn't going to sell, right? So then you think, okay, that's definitely relationship building. We call it cold outreach, but you're warming them up.
yeah,
It's not really,
yeah.
the first message is cold, the second is slightly warm, if they respond. If they don't, then you're trying to sell to the wrong person.
LinkedIn is like a professional Tinder, you liked each other by your profile pages, but what's next? You have to
Exactly.
meet in real life.
Yeah.
So there are so many freelance ghostwriters, at least in my feed, because
Mm.
I'm really curious about how it works. So how do you stand out as a ghostwriter?
I think the question could be, how do you stand out at all? It's a
Okay.
social media in a noisy world for any industry. But yeah, you're right. There are a lot of ghostwriters on LinkedIn because that's where most of our target audience will be present. So I think the best way to stand out is by demonstrating your skills, but also being relatable, being vulnerable and sharing your personal story. Because it's like there's this marketing line, is I hear it all the time, but it's really true, is people buy from people they like ultimately. Even when there's competition on price, which you shouldn't be competing on. If you're a professional worth their salt, then you shouldn't be competing on price. You should be charging your worth plus tax. But even if it comes to price competition, you'll find that a client will buy from you because they like you, because they find you relatable, because for some reason they resonated with you. Even if they don't think you're the best person to do the work, ultimately it's going to be because they like you. So, and to become likable, they need to trust you. To trust you, they need to see you enough times in their feed and have enough conversations so that they feel that they can have that conversation with you and give you money for your services, right? So to stand out, there's a lot of things that you need to be doing. But the most important is don't copy what everyone else is doing, right? You're not going to stand out. If you follow templates, formulas, you'll sound like everyone else. That's not going to help you stand out. So embrace your quirks. We are all weird in our ways,
Exactly.
Even an accountant, which is supposedly they are like not such a fun people to be around, but actually they can be, right? And in fact, one of our clients is a tax specialist, and she's amazing, and she let us write and post quirky content. Um, and I love it because and some people will comment saying, like, I love that you're not just posting about VAT stuff, or you're making VAT sound fun, right? Which is really very, one, it's difficult to do, and two, most of those type of clients want to play it safe. So this can go for any service provider. As a ghostwriter, you want to stand out with your writing skills. That's the best. That's the easiest, But then secondarily is if you're writing for a typically boring business, you have to help them stand out, right?
Yeah.
And you can't just write about general cybersecurity BS that anyone can Google, right? That's just not going to help your client stand out. So,
Especially with ChatGPT and other AI tools. So,
oh,
by the way,
yeah.
have rise of ChatGPT and all those AI stuff made it harder for you to find clients?
So, yes and no. Initially, we've lost clients. When it all came out, we've lost clients. And I thought, right, this is going to be the death of my agency. At the time, we were only a team of 3. But then what started to happen is about 6 to 9 months after ChatGPT came out, some of those clients started coming back saying, actually, this is not really, it's not giving us any results. And can we come back and work with you again? And
Please.
then now we are having leads reaching out to us to saying, we specifically want human written content. We don't want AI written content. People can tell. Now we do use AI because it's better to devil, and any agency should be keeping up with AI because it is a threat. It's going to get better. So we use AI in the research stages, right? And generating content ideas after we've given it the information, like say the market research we perform for clients, we add all of that information with ChatGPT. ChatGPT helps us developing some strategies, doing
Mhm.
some research, but the human needs to be there. How you ask questions, and then you need to fact check everything because we know ChatGPT is not a reliable source of information. So it helps us speed up processes, right? What would have taken us 2 weeks might take us 2 or 3 days. So you need to keep on top of it, any agency. And I would be stupid if I said it's not a threat. So we're looking at diversifying. I'm in the process of starting up another little business that I can't talk about it much at the moment. But for the research of that, I am relying on AI because I feel like I might have spotted a gap. But I'm in the research stages at the moment, so that should come. But I feel like it's fitting. It's something to do with end of life planning,
Hmm.
dying, death,
Okay.
but all the
Yeah.
wonderful things that we can't escape. It's part of life.
Exactly. Exactly. The parts of our journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
As they talk, is it about the journey or the final destination? So I feel like it's for those people who like it's about the
Yeah.
final destination.
Yeah. But it's the
And
journey. People have more fun if they enjoy the journey.
yeah, totally. So I feel like when you were talking about these AI tools, I heard this phrase from someone, and I keep hearing it here and there that AI won't replace experts, but experts who use AI will replace experts who don't do that. So that's exactly how I feel you feel about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I think, initially I was thinking I will differentiate my agency by saying, you know, like we absolutely going to ignore AI. We're just going to do things the traditional way. And we predominantly are still doing that. But alongside that, our team or my freelancers are learning about AI as much as we can. We are testing things in the background. We can't ignore it. I think it's one of those things where if you look at, the example I can think of is during the industrialization period is where companies ignored the big change, they went under. And I think that this is what's already happening with a lot of agencies. Now, whether how that's going to affect our cost, our pricing and all that, I think we'll need to look at that. At the moment, we are saying, look, we're only working with select clients who appreciate human written content
Hmm.
because people can still tell the difference, right?
Yeah.
But we cannot be naive to the fact that there are agencies who have slashed their costs. They are using AI to churn out at the moment low value cheap content, which is very generic, very basic. Now, if you want to work with, I want to work with businesses who value the research that we put in, who value um, the original piece of content that's ChatGPT, but that's not ChatGPT generated, and you can't just Google.
Yeah.
And it's creative. You can tell it's written by a creative who's done it for a while, who's been doing it for a number of years. Not every company wants that. Some company just wants to churn out content for the sake of it. They are not our clients. I'm sure there is an agency for them serving that. We don't want to be that agency. When AI gets as good as what we're doing at the moment, then we have a problem, right? So we need to be
You
prepared
never
for that.
know. You never know.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
never know. But AI alone, like you said, AI alone can't do that. There has to be a person asking the right questions, doing the right research before you start prompting AI. So that's, we're learning about that for sure.
I feel like very soon therapists will be the best AI experts. So,
Yeah, that's a good point.
if someone wants to become a good ghostwriter, what is the easiest step to take right away?
Practice, practice, practice. Write as much as you can. And if you can, handwrite. There's something about the brain, eye, hand-eye coordination and writing things that just makes it stick. So even journaling, just
Mm,
writing your thoughts on paper at the end of the day helps that create the creative muscle of your brain to develop those skills. um, there's something to be said about I don't want to like put a number on it, but scientists have put a number on it to 10,000 hours, right? Is
exactly.
when you master something is around that the 10,000 hours mark. So really, that's the step number one is practice writing for yourself and start publishing content. And if you publish it, right, you look back on it 6 months after, or a year or 2 years, and you're going to see how far you come. You're going to see your progress, the difference
Yeah.
in the quality of how you're writing, and also you're going to get faster at it. So that's number one. I look at stuff that I've written for clients 5 years ago, and I think, oh God, that was rubbish. But at the time, it worked, and it was still better than somebody who wasn't doing it.
Exactly.
You only need to be two, 3 steps ahead of somebody who's not doing anything, and you can call yourself better because you are by default, because you've been doing it for longer than that person. So there are no shortcuts around this. The way you start it is you just start it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, or fortunately, who knows?
Fortunately, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the case for everyone. When it comes to writing, it's not, I mean, you can learn. Obviously, there's theoretical knowledge, technical knowledge around the language and how you use conversion copywriting techniques, and there are formulas and so on. You can learn all that, of course, but the magic is in the application. The magic is in the doing.
Yeah.
And that just becomes, it's just like anything, just like driving. First, you learn about the theory, but really you learn to drive when you're out driving.
Exactly. Zsike, I wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit to our conversation. So the
Mm.
final question, what is your favorite food?
I mean, I was going to say blood, but that's too
Uh,
obvious.
Yeah, exactly. Except blood, I mean.
Well, I mean, this is funny. It's going to be funny, but I'm vegan. I'm a vegan vampire, which I get a lot of.
Blood of
Uh,
plants.
yeah, blood of plants. Although, food is considered vegan if it's freely given, apparently. So if somebody freely gives blood, then I could still call that. Favorite food? I mean, I like most things. So my father jokes, as my father is a Transylvanian butcher, so he wants to disown me because I no longer eat meat. But if I had to pick one, sort of really quickly and randomly, I would say porridge. I know that's not very exciting, but I put lots of really healthy things in it. It's just the best way to start the day off is a, a healthy porridge with a dollop of crunchy peanut butter. It has to be crunchy. Anyone tells you otherwise, don't listen to them. Smooth peanut butter shouldn't even be sold in the shops. What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
I hope you
Exactly.
agree.
Totally. I can feel that.
Yeah.
And what is the best way to connect with you?
LinkedIn. It's my number one platform that I use. I live and breathe LinkedIn. I probably half of my life is spent on LinkedIn at the moment through my account or client accounts. So yeah, definitely LinkedIn. Although I use Instagram a little bit for my art channel, but I'm very time limited at the moment, so I haven't done any painting in a while. So LinkedIn
Got
it
it.
is.
Zsike, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and it's such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Thank you so much for having me, Yuri. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button, 5 stars, and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.